Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Is Ryan Pace on the hot seat if the Bears don't make the playoffs in 2020? How about Matt Nagy? We're going to be exploring these questions and more in episode 19 of Uncut. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I presume when you're watching this, we'll be at about 1.2k subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you can get notifications whenever we post new Bears content, and also like the video for us. Welcome back, episode 19. I am your host, Chris Maltby. I'm joined today by my co-host, Zach Rimbos, at 12:36 a.m. on Monday night. Zach, how you doing?
Good. Pretty tired. Like you were saying, we're recording pretty late, so.
Yeah, no kidding. 2 interviews in the morning, so have to improvise somehow. But let's get right into this one. I mean, this one's basically an episode looking into the future, projecting the future, one may say. It's a little bit of a tough one. You know, schedules do come out later this week. We'll be reacting to the Bears' schedule when it does go live. But let's just hop right into this one. So this one is basically going to be centered around Pace and Nagy and their future, whether or not the Bears make the playoffs. So Ryan Pace has accumulated a 34-46 record as the Bears GM from 2015 to 2019, 12 games under 500. His best season came in 2018 following a 12-4 finish. Worst season came in 2016 with a 3-13 finish. Matt Nagy, who has been here since 2018, has had a 20-12 record as the head coach of the Bears, very solid, one playoff appearance in 2018. Even though Pace is under 500, one really can argue that he's turned it around for a Bears defense that had a 4 to 5 year stretch since about 2012, 2013, 2011, where it got pretty ugly in the offense, and Jay Cutler was actually outperforming the defense. You know, he's acquired guys like Khalil Mack, Danny Trevathan, Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, Roquan Smith, Bilal Nichols, Eddie Jackson. We're talking marquee guys on defense that have all been acquired through Pace. On offense, it's a little bit of a different story. You know, Mitchell Trubisky, the second overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, just had his fifth-year option declined. His future is really on hold when it comes to the Bears. He's probably the pick that Pace is going to go down and be known for. Pace also signed Mike Glennon to a $45 million deal in 2017, drafted Adam Shaheen in the second round of that draft. But you also got to look at the positive for the offensive side of the ball as well. You know, he's gotten playmakers on the offensive line like Cody Whitehair and James Daniels. Also, Tariq Cohen has been a pick by Pace on that offensive side of the ball. So, that's my long spiel. Whoof, I'm done. But Zach, I've got a question for you. Just in general here, what do the Bears have to do to put themselves in a better spot in 2020 in regards to playing in the postseason?
Well, obviously the offense needs to take that step forward. The defense took a little regression last year. I wouldn't even really say that. I just think that there were a lot of opportunities where the offense could not produce on the field, and so the defense was forced to go out there, and they're probably exhausted during the game. I think that, first off, the offense needs to take that huge step, and that's going to take so much pressure off the defense. But I'd say without doubt, if anybody's going to be on the hot seat, it'd probably be Ryan Pace. Matt Nagy was just hired a few years ago, so I would see Pace being on the hot seat more than anything. So definitely making the playoffs and taking this next step on offense specifically this season is going to be something that the Bears need to turn around.
Yeah, I'm going to say in order to put themselves in a better spot, the Bears need more consistent quarterback play. You know, you can blame whatever you want on offense, but it goes down to who is delivering the ball to the wide receivers. You know, and it takes an entire group to obviously improve that play, but I think the Bears got the weapons they needed. Guys like Bobby Massey and Charles Leno, as you mentioned, had a little bit of a down year on the offensive line. I hope they can get it back together. We're hoping Jermaine Fetty's going to be better, you know, as a guard. So I think the offensive line in general would be a bit better, maybe not an incredible amount better, open up the run game a little bit. It's going to come down to the quarterback being able to make the throws, wherever that may be, whether it's a deep throw, whether it's the easy dink and dunks underneath, stuff like that. You know, it's going to come down to being able to hit those passes in times of need. I think Bears fans haven't really seen good quarterback play really ever, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, and if it has been good, it's been completely spotty. So I think if the Bears want to put themselves out there as legitimate contenders, they need better quarterback play on offense. I think the defense is going to be completely fine. They even held up well last year. You know, obviously a big decrease in turnovers, but I think they held up fine. I think if the quarterback play can improve, it'll really pan out all of this. So that's what I'm going to say that the Bears need to do to put themselves in a better spot in 2020. Next question I've got for you, Zach. Do you think, and you don't need to talk about specific games or your record prediction or anything because we do that already here on the channel, but do you think in general that the Bears make the playoffs in 2020?
I mean, it's hard to say no.
It's a long ways away
it's
as
biased.
well, too.
I mean, being a Bears fan, obviously there's going to be bias, but I also just think like you have to make the playoffs this year just to, to keep this defense is young and it's not going to stay that way for very long. All the pieces are not going to be where they are now. If we continue to lose, and this is a winning organization, I believe, even though with one Super Bowl win, you got to go all, Pace is going all in, I think right now. He's doing everything. He's addressed all of his mistakes, and he's when Pace hits, he hits. So I think that we definitely make the play. Praying we hopefully better make the playoffs this season. It's almost like it needs to be a certainty. So
yeah, I think the Bears make the playoffs in 2020. Obviously, as you said, this is a Bears channel. It's a little bit biased. I think a lot of people don't really see the light when it comes to the Bears this year. A lot of very low draft grades, a lot of predictions still around 6-10 and 8-8, but they don't really realize that obviously if Mitch takes a jump this year, that would be great. But if Foles ends up being the guy, this is also the best situation he'll get with the best talent that he's had since Philadelphia, during 2018 or during 2014. So I think people don't realize that hopefully one of these quarterbacks is going to pan out, and that really can solve this all. And also something that a lot of people don't mention is that the depth on this defense is back. The great thing about the 2018 team is that when people went down, other people stepped up, whether it was Roy Robertson Harris or Eddie Goldman on the line or Deion Bush in the secondary, even in 2018. The depth was there on defense, and people stepped up and made plays when other people weren't injured. And if you look at the depth chart right now, there's really nowhere on defense that we aren't lacking depth, and that's really good to see. So I do think they make the playoffs in 2018 as long as the offense can start to find their footing, because I think that's clearly, Zach, something that was lacked last season.
Do you mind if I jump in really quick?
Yeah.
Also, just to add on to what you're saying, the Bears fans in general were so upset about last season. You still need to realize 8-8 is not that bad,
and it's a couple plays from 10-6. Like
exactly.
If Pinheiro makes a field goal, it's 9-7.
It's a game of inches, man. And that's the thing is, 8-8 looks bad for us. There's high expectations, but you have to realize going into Dallas, we were still in the playoff picture, and
barely, but yeah. Yeah, and you have to think if Trubisky doesn't get injured, we still beat the Vikings at home. We go and beat the Raiders in London because Chase played a bad game. I think that's pretty obvious. As much as Raiders fans want to say that they won the Mac trade, but I think we're a Mitchell Trubisky start and a Pinheiro kick away from 10-6 and in the playoffs. So quite literally a game of inches, as you said. Next question for you, Zach. If they don't make the playoffs in 2019, it hates me to say this because I'm a big fan of this guy, regardless of his rocky start in Chicago. If the Bears don't make the playoffs in 2020, is Ryan Pace on the hot seat?
I think so. Since he's been hired in 2015, there's been, like I said before, when he hits, he hits. He makes really good draft picks, and then he has those ones that don't really pan out. Kevin White, Trubisky. just to name a couple. And like I was saying, there's so much pressure, such high expectations for this organization. Having one Super Bowl with all of the history that we have, not even making a Super Bowl appearance since 2006. Our last playoff win was in 2011, 2010, 2011 season. So, I mean, there's so many expectations. This decade needs to be a turnaround. And if Ryan Pace cannot do it this season, then I think we see somebody else here.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot to mention Kevin White there, seventh overall in the 2015 NFL draft earlier on. But I also am going to have to agree with you that Pace is on the hot seat. I'm forever grateful for Ryan Pace, regardless of what happens. He's made this defense a bunch of monsters, and monsters of the midway, quite literally, as we say it. He's completely facelifted this defense, and you can't underestimate. Obviously he's had some really big misses, as you said, but he's also had some really nice hits in the later rounds on offense. Cody Whitehair is someone who I'm forever grateful for his work. James
Eddie
Daniels
Jackson in the
has
fourth
gotten better.
round too.
I mean, yeah, and obviously you look at the defense like Hicks, Nichols, Goldman, Smith, Mack, Trevathan, Jackson, yada yada yada. We can go on all day, but I'm forever grateful for Pace regardless. That being said, um, I don't question him much, but if we don't make the playoffs this year, I'm going to be a little bit confused considering I think we did what we needed to do for the offense to once again, I'll say it again, find their footing in 2020. So I think if they don't make the playoffs, especially with the expanded playoff field, we haven't even mentioned that yet, with three wild card teams, 7 overall from each conference. I do think he's in the hot seat and might have to go. The next question I got for you, Zach, and I'm going to answer it first myself, is the same question. If they don't make the playoffs, how about Matt Nagy this time? You know what? I'm going to say no here. I don't think he will be on the hot seat. I think Chicago now realizes if Mitch doesn't pan out this year, then we really will realize when Nagy came in 2018 that he was dealing with a much tougher situation than many of us saw. We all expected Mitch to take that jump, and he kind of did in 2018. I'm not even going to get into this argument, but Pro Bowl doesn't mean as much as it used to, and Mitch obviously was the Pro Bowler in 2018 as an alternate, but clearly a lot of people within the organization are already rumored to have given up on him. We'll see what happens. Either way, Mitch's situation in Chicago has kind of defined Nagy's tenure so far, and I'd still like to see Nagy not only work with Foles this year, but also another young quarterback down the road. Nagy's been praised as that quarterback guru. I think Zach will agree with me here, that if Mitch doesn't pan out, we'll realize that it's been a little bit tougher for Nagy because it's been hard to trust Mitch. So I'm going to say that Nagy will not be on the hot seat regardless of what happens this season. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Just to kind of summarize what I was going to say. I mean, everything you were saying, including the fact that it is going to be hard on Nagy when you don't have all the pieces. You have to factor in everything. The offensive line was bottom 4 in the league. The quarterback play was very poor. We had injuries there as well.
And you're the play caller, and you can't always trust your quarterback.
Exactly, and it's controversial, but I mean, I don't think Nagy really trusted his quarterback this season, this past season, and I mean, it shows. His play calling was tested. And
Six trips to the red zone. 6 trips to the red zone against the Los Angeles Chargers and 0 scores, and you can tell that Nagy didn't trust Mitch to throw the ball.
The red zone was very poor play this past season especially, but we've seen what Matt Nagy can do. He was coach of the year in 2018, and I mean, yes, you can point to the defense and say, we had Vic Fangio, but I just think if you're an offensive-minded coach, Matt Nagy, we've seen him in other places do great things. He hasn't had this role before, but the way he stepped in and took it and led a team to a 12, not led, but I would say had a huge part in 12-4, with the help of Vic Fangio. That's why I say didn't take head of it completely. Mm-hmm. Vic Fangio was massive. I think we saw Chuck Pagano. I don't know. I mean, it's debatable, but again, like I'm saying, Matt Nagy, we've seen what he can do, and if he doesn't have the weapons, he doesn't have everything that you can factor into it, then it's not gonna, it's not gonna go his way. So yeah. I'd say no. He's not on the hot seat.
Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in to this episode of Uncut. Episode 19, you guys have been digging it. Once again, do us a favor, smash a like, subscribe, click that bell for notifications whenever we post any of our Bears-related content. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can check out our content at beardown.com. Articles, columns, blogs, whatever you want to call them. There's a ton of those on there, so you can find kind of more elaborate thoughts from the whole crew. Obviously, people working behind the scenes as well on everything Bears, so I suggest you check that out. You can find the link to our socials down in the description, and you can follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. Zach Rimbos, any last words for us tonight at what is now 12:50 a.m.?
Stay safe out there. Hopefully the stuff will be done pretty soon. And May 30th is the last extension of this thing.
It's currently Monday, May 4th, 26 days. Hopefully we'll fly, and even if it doesn't, it'll give us time to roll into the summer, hopefully get out to training camp, continue to grow for you guys before we end up hopefully going back to college in August. But thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. I've said it like 3 times now, but we're incredibly grateful for the support recently. You heard our thoughts on the Bears making the playoffs in 2020, as well as Ryan Nagy, as well as Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's, they're basically positions if the team were not to make the playoffs. Thank you guys so much for your support. I am your host, Chris Malpe, signing out. And as always, Chicago, stay safe and bear down. Peace.